Hello and welcome back to your favorite Marvel Snap podcast, the 8 Cube Circus. Here's your regular intro guy, Xenaid, and my co-host, 17-time guest now, Smith.
Yeah, 17.
17. Noticeably, we will be missing Dennis for today's episode. He's not feeling the best. We got to get a recording in this week. And we're pretty much going off the books for this one. No prompts, no scripts, no talking points. Just me and Smith having a conversation about Snap. So you guys get to see the real inner workings and the gears that fuel our minds while we're playing this game.
And you gotta get a lot of insight. I know I've been doing very well this season thus far. How have you been doing,
I
Xenaid?
feel like the ladder's been pretty easy. Like I've just been playing stupid zombie decks. I know if I stick to like my Sauron stuff, my tech stuff, like it's pretty good because no one's expecting tech. So like you can really scam people. But then because no one's expecting tech, it makes me not want to play it because like it's too easy to get people with like the cards, you know? Like for example,
So Snap's just too easy for you?
people are just dying to Shadow King. It's just like if I had it, they'd be dead. I put Juggernaut in
Yeah,
one of my
Shadow King is
decks,
amazing.
and it's just free. Like no one plays around Juggernaut at all.
Yeah, I had the same thing where I slotted Juggernaut into my Jocasta zombie combo deck, and let's just say I went 90 SP in like 30 minutes. It was crazy. I didn't play a game for less than 4. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I think like the pet tech cards, like honestly, are thriving a lot more in metas like this because there's no like set 12 cards for any list. Like if you watch any KM Best video on Sunday, like I don't know what to expect nowadays. So I'm actually interested in watching them because like it's like you don't know what the 10 decks are going to be or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's interesting, and I think the recent OTA is to thank for that. I really think that this most recent OTA is one of my favorites of the entire year. It really just made a 3 card package just like really viable and at the top of the meta because you can really slot it in anything. Just slotting Zombie Scarlet Witch, the Hunger, and Zombie Giant Man into a lot of decks is like very good. It reminds me a lot of back in 2024 and very late 2023 of the Hood Sentry and Nihilist combination, where you could really just shove those 3 cards into like any deck and it would be fine just because of how powerful that 3 card package was. I think we're seeing something very similar here with zombies, and what it's doing is it's leading into 2 different types of decks. It's leading into those that like fully embrace the package of that and go for more all-in horde, maybe running a zombie Mr. Fantastic, maybe running an absorbing man to copy the giant man. You're really going all in on your horde there versus you have these hybridized combo decks. Like I know I made one with Jocasta stuff in the zombies, and it's hybridization of that, and it's just using them as a package rather than the full focus of the archetype. I really, really, really like the buffs that were made in the OTA, and I think the meta is way better because of it.
I think the also noticeable thing is the Invisible Woman nerfs, right? And the Mobius nerfs and the Shadow King nerf. Like it's gotten Shadow King to a point where like decks still want to play him because I think it's a pretty healthy point in the meta because I think Shadow King is like the things Shadow King is good against are good enough for you to want to be playing Shadow King, but Shadow King is not so good that you have to play him.
I agree. I really like this Shadow King nerf. Originally, when I first saw it, I was very skeptical, especially because they were buffing Horde, and I thought it might really lead to green power everywhere. But no, what it's really done is it's forced decks to ask the question of Shadow King is probably the best tech card right now. How can I slot it into my deck? And we've seen decks like Black Knight really use Shadow King to a great advantage. It can go Ebony played as a 3 plus Shadow King on the final turn of the game. And that's just incredibly powerful. You're flipping one lane and putting a 320 in the other. That's really good. It's just stuff like that where you're really trying to see how the card fits into decks. I think it's where it's really shining. And it's definitely a nerf, but it's a buff to the cards, I think, health. In the sense that it's no longer quote unquote free in a lot of decks. You have to like actually think about where it's fitting into your curve and where you want to slot it in, what matchups you're considering it for. Because when Shadow King was a 2-2, I never cut it from V hand, even when the
You
meta
should
wasn't
have
that
never
great
cut it
for
from
it.
the end because it was you could always
It's
play it.
just too free in
Yeah.
the random matchup where it's useful. So you just never want to cut it. It is very nice to see that tech card actually have a cost.
Yeah, and I think the two tech cards that have landed the best in terms of deck building restrictions are now Shadow King and Enchantress, right? I think where those two cards are is like the healthiest of any tech cards ever, because it feels like the tech cards are like there when you need them, but you also have to shift your archetype towards something that the tech cards are like supportive of.
Yeah, I think that the main thing with Shadow King is it's a little different than Enchantress. With Enchantress, you can and oftentimes are playing it on 5. You are almost exclusively playing your Shadow King on the final turn of the game. So really, Shadow King kinda you need to really consider curve. You need to go 3+3, or if you're running like Luna or Magic, 3+4. I think it's a very interesting solution to the problem of tech being splashable in a lot of decks was to increase their cost. The one tech card, I know you're not going to like this, but the one tech card right now that I still think is in quite a bad place is Shang-Chi, but we will see. I
My
mean,
I
I
agree with
love
them
the
being a
meta.
shame, like a bad place, but I think like the levers in place that like matter for Shang are a little bit off. Like it's hard to like adjust meaningful levers because I don't think Shadow King's good because he's a 3/4. I think Shadow King's good because the stuff that it hits in the meta, the base power is zero. If you're hitting zombies, right, the base power of that is zero. If you're hitting like destroy cards, right, like you're hitting Deadpool, you're hitting Carnage, you're hitting Venom, you're reducing the power by a lot. The 3/4 matters much more in the Venom case. But I do see a world where like if Surfer becomes meta, right, then Shadow King isn't an effective tech card against Surfer, but it is against the archetypes that are prominent with green power right now. Because you think of like the base power, right? What happens to Shadow King of Brood Lane? Are you happy?
You oftentimes
But
are
the base power
happy
of
that you're
Brood is a
getting it, but
6.
it's still a 6, so it's still
So
not winning and it's costing one more. So I get your point there. I still think it's pretty effective against Surfer, but I get what you're trying to say. What you're trying to really say here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that it's not as impactful against Surfer because less decks can play Shadow King and supplement it with enough points to actually flip the
yeah,
lanes.
so I think like the reason is because Shadow King solo wins lanes against zombie decks, where you don't have to invest other cards. I think it feels good because that's the main thing you're teching against. But Shadow King is the answer to more than just zombie cards, right? Like it's an answer to Brood and Surfer stuff and Werewolf stuff. And I think because those decks haven't been as rampant, I feel like people are happy where Shadow King's at. But I think if more werewolf decks show up in the meta, if more brood decks show up in the meta, if more like green power decks that like aren't invalidated by Shadow King show up, then people are gonna start to realize that Shadow King isn't this like end all be all tech card that deals with green power. It like is very reliant on actually the zombie horde having a base power of zero. It makes it super good against that.
And I think that with the recent play rate of the zombie package and it being in a ton of games, that you're sort of seeing Shadow King be a little bit too good. In like in the past, when we had all the buffers like Mr. Fantastic First Steps and 2/2 Surge, all those buff cards that were overtuned, I was a proponent of 2/3 Shadow King because I'm like, okay, they're not answering these issues based on their recent OTAs. I don't think they're going to address them. So just have to buff the counter to make people run it because otherwise it's just too much points. They ended up addressing those issues, and then Shadow King got nerfed. I think that was the correct way to approach it.
I think those green
But
power decks, yeah, aren't strong enough to compete. But if they were, if they got like one or two more supporting cards, like if Galactic Gwenpool were able to show up again, I don't think Shadow
hmm,
King is the answer we need, right? So it's good that like there are meaningful levers they can adjust. AKA like if green power is being strong, you want to adjust the base power of the cards. And it's a good lever to be able to adjust, right? Like like Scarlet Witch being a 3/4 base is actually very impactful.
yeah, I mean, the most impactful interaction with that, I believe, is also with Merlin because a
Yeah,
lot of the cards you're playing on Zombie Scarlet Witch now are less power than her, but before they were kind of the same or more. So you really don't want to polymorph for once in future that card. So really, the only safe spell was a 1 in 3 hit to Omniversal.
yeah, it's pretty insane with Merlin, but I think like Of the three cards, right? Of the 2 drop, the 3 drop, and the 5 drop, Mr. Fantastic, Scarlet Witch, or Giant Man, which one do you think is the best? Because I have a clear answer.
I think Scarlet Witch is the best.
Oh, and don't forget Hunger. I think Scarlet Witch is also the best.
I think Scarlet Witch is the best. I think Scarlet Witch is a phenomenal card now. I think it's like 4.5 out of 5 stars.
Yeah,
I think
it's
it's really
insane
good.
actually.
I think the Hunger is about 4 stars. I think it's a premier 1 drop. I think it's really good, and I think it's very underrated. I think Giant Man is about a high 3.5, maybe low 4 stars. It's one of the best big guys we have, and the fact that it costs 5 instead of 6 is amazing. And I'll probably get into this a little more later, but I think Zombie Mr. Fantastic sucks, and he should not be in pretty much any horde deck.
So I'm actually of the same order rating you are, but like my Zombie Giant Man rating is way lower than the other
Yeah,
cards.
that's interesting because what I've been doing is when I've been playing the horde package and stuff like that, it feels like Zombie Giant Man. He's just so good. Like I had a game where I had my horde Shadow Kinged and I still won because when I played my Zombie Giant Man after they Shadow Kinged the horde, they Shadow Kinged the horde on 5, by the way, because they
Who's
were
Shadow King the Horde on 5? Like,
it was Arishem and they needed a curve.
yeah, that I
They
think
had
that's
no
so
other turn
incorrect.
5
So
plays.
I think you won
I
because they
think it's
made
incorrect as
such a bad
well, but
play.
they did that, and I ended up just going
Wait,
Kitty Pride Zombie Giant Man. Giant Man played for
you do
enough
understand,
points
right?
to flip it.
When you're playing Giant Man without like if they Shadow King your card on the last turn, your Giant Man is basically a Red Skull. Like, I think Giant Man and Red Skull have varying upsides. Like their upsides very similar in the terms like of the situation you get to play them. The problem with
Correct.
like Giant Man's buffing the horde isn't really the effect like that's that powerful. Giant Man's effect is to gain the power of the horde. Like he's basically a Red Skull. If he's not getting bigger than
Yeah.
Red Skull, then I think Red Skull is better. But you understand.
I understand what you're getting at. I just think that Zombie Giant Man is such a strong finisher, and I remember when Thing First Steps.
Yeah,
I know our viewers might our listeners might also remember Thing First Steps was like everywhere for like 2 to 3 weeks, and it was all Thing First Steps. I think Zombie Giant Man is like Thing First Steps kind of two because he can really be played anywhere. I think he's around probably slightly worse than Thing First Steps, but he has better support than Thing First Steps right now.
yeah.
So I think he's fills the same niche as like 5 slash big win a lane guy. I think he's a little more vulnerable than Thing First Steps, but I do think he is relatively punching in the same ballpark. If you rate Thing First Steps a 4.5 stars, Zombie Giant Man I think has to come in at around 3.5 to 4.
Yeah, I think another noticeable thing is every top infinite deck that is playing Zombie Giant Man is either running some form of ramp in the form of Surge, Hope, Luna, or Surge, Hope, or Luna, pretty much. And a lot of them
I'm
are
not.
running both of
I
them.
can say I can say that. I think I might am I the only one that's having success with Giant Man outside of that? Because
I,
I'm playing it in Jocasta
I
stuff.
haven't seen it with Chikasta stuff, but I'm pretty sure the deck would be better if you ran Surge, Hope, or Luna. One of the three.
So here's the thing. That curve is very tight with Jocasta because you really want Jocasta on 3 Omega Sentinel on 4. That's the power spike of the deck.
Jocasta on 3, Omega Sentinel on 4. Like, at that point, you might as well just not play the zombie package, though.
That's the
It's a good
thing.
alt line.
When you're that's the thing though, when you don't have that and you're not going for activate, you're in fact going for zombies, there's really no turn you want to fit it in. Because if you're going for zombies, you ideally want to prodigy your zombie Scarlet Witch on 4. So you want to be going zombie Scarlet Witch on 3, and then you want to be doing Kitty slash Echo and then Prodigy on 4.
Then what's your
And
5?
then you want to what?
What's your 5?
My 5 would be typically either just zombie giant man on 5 to set up for a jug on 6, or do something like awesome Andy plus Kitty Pride plus Jocasta on Andy, just
Yeah.
like something like that where you're setting up like side pieces to frame for 1 plus giant man. but there's really no turn there to set up for a Luna to get the zombie giant man out
Yeah,
early, and there's no effective two drops to really play
definitely
with it.
not with the Jocasta curve because activates are so reliant on being played early, right?
Correct.
So I think there's no space in the Jocasta curve. But I do think like if you're trying to
I do.
Prodigy or Scarlet Witch, that's such a weak play though, right?
No, it's very good with giant men. It's because when you're scaling four, if you just play a kitty on to that, you're when you're using giant man and you just play a kitty, the kitty is scaling your horde by
Yeah,
8 in effect
you're
because it's buffing giant man 4 and it's buffing the horde 4. That's just incredibly powerful to
yeah.
do, and especially it's not the best line. I mean, obviously prodiging a Jocasta is better. I think Jocasta is the best prodigy in the entire game, but basically what you're doing there is it gives a meaningful backup line to what otherwise would kind of be a dead card if you didn't draw Jocasta or Omega
I
Sentinel
mean,
on time.
yeah, my favorite line with Zombie Scarlet Witch is. I mean, I'm pretty sure you know. What do you think my favorite card to play with Zombie Scarlet Witch is?
Is it your Madam Web
Yeah,
Cosmo?
it's Madam Web. Like Madam Web with Zombie Scarlet Witch gets the same amount of procs. You just have to make sure because you're playing a 2-1, you need to make sure the rest of your deck has enough power. You're cheating because you're playing a 4-10, and then your Jocasta becomes a 3-10, and then your Prodigy becomes a 3-11 if you can get it right, but then it doubles even more. So I think like low key people are severely underrating the power of Omega Sentinel because she just shoots all your fucking lanes.
She's so
It
good.
feels like a
She's
reverse tribunal, right? Because
incredible.
tribunal's like you have to be this tall. Like fucking triple sentinel is just like saying all your lanes are this small.
Yeah, Omega Sentinel is become one of my favorite cards, and it just if you can get the 5 procs on it, it's playing for a 438. It's like
Yeah, but
ridiculous.
I think Red Guardian is being underplayed. I think the other cards that are being
Definitely,
underplayed are
100%.
Lady Deathstrike. Um,
Yeah. I have your Jocasta, your not Jocasta zombies list right here. Would you like me to read it out for the
yeah,
viewers?
you can read it off for the viewers, but I really like my
So
zombies list.
this is, I think a lot of people like their zombies list. I will read mine after as well. So Xenaid's zombie list is the Hunger, Agony, Madam Web, Surge, Zombie Mr. Fantastic, Hawkeye, Kate Bishop, Merlin, Cosmo, Hope Summers, Zombie Scarlet Witch, Iron Man, Zombie Giant Man. This is a very interesting direction, I think, to take the package. I really like the Iron Man in here specifically. I'm just kind of wondering, is there something better for Surge personally?
I think Surge is just good because well, Surge is good not as a turn two play. There's probably something better in the turn two slot. I was just thinking Iron Patriot low key because like you're playing Iron Patriot into a 3-4. A lot of decks still aren't contesting that if they're not hitting your Iron Patriot right on the slot. The best two drop in this deck is definitely Kate Bishop. That card just provides so much flexibility. Surge has felt a little awkward. I would find a way to cut it, um, but I'm not sure exactly what I would cut it for. I'm thinking Mercury would be a pretty good one, just so you have like lines.
Yeah, I've really been liking Mercury. I just added it to my list. I can read out my list now. My list is The Hunger, Kitty Pride, Echo, Awesome Andy, Mercury, Herbie, Jocasta, Prodigy, Zombie Scarlet Witch, Omega Sentinel, Juggernaut, and Zombie Giant Man. I think these are two very different ways to take the package, whereas you're kind of going more all in on the horde mechanic and you're really sort of playing like a mid-range horde deck with your scalers and your exponential stuff being like Iron Man and Zombie Giant Man, whereas I'm using it very much as like a backup plan. The horde where I'm like, okay, plan A is Jocasta stuff, plan B is okay, I'm gonna use Zombie Scarlet Witch and Zombie Giant Man to grow a horde. Another reason I think my deck is a good horde deck as well is because Activate's weakest matchup by far is Supergiant. And Zombies gives you game into Supergiant. You're still not favored, but instead of 95-5, it's like 70-30. So you're actually like meaningfully contesting games, and when you win, they probably won't expect it, and you'll probably win big. I know against Supergiant, I've won a lot of 4 cubers after people just did not expect it.
Yeah, I mean, low key, it sounds like zombie Sauron is the way to go. Like all roads lead back to Sauron. I think the alt game plan of Sauron is like low key super good. Like you've seen like ever since Sauron's been started playing meta, Sauron Sugi became a thing, Sauron Merlin became a thing. I think if there's good core card packages, the Sauron package, like you were talking about the Sentry package, you were talking about the Zombies package, the Sauron
Hmm.
package of just Sauron, Zero, Starbrand, Red Skull is a very good package. And
That's
that package allows you a
personal.
fifth slot to flex in Enchantress, and it's always good to have an auto win into Cerebro. I think like
It's very good to have that, especially since Cerebro is at least probably my least favorite deck into the meta right now. So I really appreciate having that like insta win, and it's always the reason why I kind of like playing Sauron. I'm like, oh, I'm just 100% in this matchup. It's gonna be fun. So
yeah,
I mean, yeah,
I think it's like interesting, and we should have a day where we have Denish on and talk about matchups because that's the way I think about the game a lot, right? Like I think about like what tech cards they need to run to beat the current meta decks. You're the person who switches the decks the most of the three of us, but
correct.
you still play set lists. I think Denish and I,
Yeah,
in terms of when we fix our decks, because I edit my deck almost like, unless I find one I'm really enjoying and I don't care about climbing, when I'm seriously climbing, I edit my decks about once every like hour or so. Because I take
yeah.
some
So
slots out and then I
So
revise.
I'm very different from you guys because you guys typically stay to one archetype a lot and switch out cards in that archetype. I switch archetypes a lot, but I largely stay to the same lists. Like my current zombies Jocasta list is only two cards off, and one of them was a pure 100% flex slot that I was running because I knew Dennis was playing, and that was Stardust. And I did win a lot of cubes on
Because you're a fucking
Stardust, but
rat. I'll say it.
Juggernaut is just better. I also added Mercury in for Nightcrawler because I figured that Nightcrawler wasn't really the one cost, wasn't really affecting my curve too much. And I found that I was facing quite a bit of move, and I would really like to have game into move. So I added Mercury to the deck, and it has been amazing. I've seen quite a bit of like Batroc Sam stuff going on, and being able to just snap Mercury on two into Jocasta is amazing because they might also snap me back if they have a Cosmic Ghost Rider. But by then, they have not scaled at all, and my backup package far beats whatever they're doing if they're not scaling their movers.
One of my favorite tech packages right now is freaking Madam Web Cosmo. That shit,
Mm,
I've been doing evil stuff with Madam Web Cosmo. I think Cosmo's
yeah.
severely underrated. I think honestly, like there's usually two game states to the Marvel Snap metagame. There's like the tech prio like game states where it's like, oh, tech is supreme. You know, you got cards like the best Mobius deck, the best Stardust deck, the best Shang-Chi Enchantress deck, the best Sarah deck. And I think like for the last
Hmm.
few OTAs, we've gone in the opposite direction, where it's not just like the best tech deck, but it's like the best deck that can like get ahead. Like prio decks are a lot more rewarding now, like just in terms of points and being unstoppable, because tech like
Yeah.
can't compete with shutting them down.
Well, the problem with tech is that a lot of the best tech decks in prior metas, I think this really changed in the OTA where Gwenpool went to a 4-5. That's the first one where I noticeably saw it. But a lot of tech used to be in the same deck, and the idea of the deck was no matter what you're playing, I have an answer to it. And I think that this is sort of why I sort of missed a bit on my Stardust evaluation because I rated Stardust like a 10 out of 10. I thought that card was going to be amazing. It was going to be everywhere in Tech Soup specifically because it covered for all of Tech Soup's bad matchups, i.e., like Hela, Nimrod, all that stuff, which was still seeing quite a bit of play at the time. Since the tech soup got nerfed by proxy, Stardust got nerfed quite a significant amount there. I think that's why a lot of people also were a lot of off base on card evaluations in general. It's because they're evaluating these cards in a context that is not the current context anymore. I was evaluating Stardust in a tech soup format where it was answering the best answers to tech soup, so I figured it was just amazing. However, time has passed since tech soup was like really reigning supreme, and now Stardust is kind of like a mediocre four cost tech option. I know a lot of other cards have sort of suffered kind of like a similar fate. I think Fallen one was another big one where Fallen One, they nerfed pretty much all of the really good buff cards before Fallen One came out. So before if Fallen One released like a month earlier before they nerfed cards like Mr. Fantastic First Steps and all that, he probably would have been like a 5-7 to 5-8-9 regularly. And that's just a free include of your deck. You're playing a decent body as well as getting extra energy to be able to play more cards. That sounds really good. But after that, now in a buff deck, you're really only hitting him with like a Gwenpool. And that makes him like a 5-7, and that's like not really worth running over something else that could meaningfully interact with your opponent or scale your cards even further.
See, I'm of the camp that like I think there's still a good home for Fallen One. I think I hadn't played with Fallen One after Vivision was buffed and such, but I do think there's some sort of home for like this Fallen One Vivision deck that like just tries to get ahead. The problem is like you're losing a lot of resources when you're trying to play a Vivision deck, and so like Fallen One as an alts game plan isn't necessarily good enough. I think if there were like 2 5s that synergized well with Fallen One, or like a secondary card that assisted the game plan very much. Um, I just think the curve that Fallen One decks want is not necessarily supported by Fallen One. And I don't know if like you can do Fallen One plus Sarah as like an alt game plan, but it feels like that turn 5 with Fallen One is too like the decks that build Fallen One are too reliant on it.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
I mean,
I'm a big Fallen One believer, and I think I probably will get back to deck building with him. I would only, but the problem is like I didn't get the spotlight variant for him, so I
oh,
refuse, and I didn't get the spotlight variant for him because like on the day there was a patch, and I opened the game on my phone, and because I
and you
opened it
didn't
on
see
my
it.
phone before the patch came out, and I bought Fallen One, I was not eligible to receive the offer.
Oh, that's terrible
But
if you
I'm
wanted to
not even
get it.
joking. If I had that spotlight variant, I would be cooking Fallen One.
It's a good one.
Yeah, it's a good
Pandar
one too.
really good for that
Exactly.
season. I've been waiting for some more of those Pandar ones. The Stardust specifically, I think, is such a beautiful variant. It's coming up in a bundle, so I
Yeah.
hope it's not $100
I don't think we
because there's
ever talk about it, but we should look at the like we're the creator program now, right? So
we are in the
we
creator
should try to
program, yeah.
uplift the economy, right? Like how should Second Dinner kind of make this like variant purchasing stuff better? I know we usually talk about gameplay, right? But I think the entire
Yeah,
game experience should be something that like we look
yeah,
at,
we
and
can
I think our
definitely
viewers can
dedicate a
comment on as
segment
well.
of this to variants. I mean, this is the scriptless podcast. We have no like
Yeah, we can talk
bounds.
about whatever the fuck we want.
I think that okay, I'll just start with the variant acquisition stuff like
Wait,
that.
but let's
Um
let the viewers know our state of game spending as well, because I think
okay, yes.
it's important to inform like the rationale behind our
What we
decisions.
purchase. Yeah, so I'll start. I have spent money on this game consistently since about late 2023. I typically in a month will go from anywhere from I'm just gonna buy the season pass and the season pass premium to I have bought over $100 worth of bundles in some months. I have like I know I'm younger, but I've also been working for like 5 years, so I have a decent amount of money that I can use in my free time. So
Yeah,
I have some like money that I can use for me, but I'm financially stable.
I'm textbook whale definition. I just buy whatever the fuck I want whenever I feel like it in Marvel Snap, and I think my time investment when I am playing the game kind of justifies that. Like I measure my investment like, but I know I could be buying like other games that cost like $60, etc. But I'm usually like a one trick. Like when I played League of Legends, when I played those games, I just threw my money at it because I was like, these are the purchases I want to validate, and these are the purchases I want to like invalidate. Because like I don't know if you know Riot Games history, but they're generally a good company. They've had a few controversies they've dealt with pretty well. Uh, I'm not trying to sell out too much because my name's still Xenaid
Yeah.
TFT. Um, but but I wish like Marvel Snap took some of like Riot Games economy practices, right? But it's hard because when Riot Games did do a collectible card game, it failed in terms of monetization.
Was that Legends of
Yeah,
Runeterra?
Legends of Runeterra failed in terms of monetization because the gameplay wasn't really monetized. Like like getting cards, it was very easy to make decks, right? So the part of FOMO that second edition is trying to capitalize on. If you think about all the successful card games, namely Hearthstone, it gives players a reason to keep buying cards, but it also gives players like the choice of what cards to buy, and there's still a route of access as a free to play player. And I feel like Danish is our free to play player, but he
Hmm.
can't play whatever he wants to play.
Yeah, I feel like when you can get into the whatever you want to play area, you're sort of getting into an area where I am, where I have spent decent amount of money in this game, but I've also been playing it for over coming up on 3 years and like a month at this point. So I have like repeatedly engaged with the game a lot of the time. Before I took a significant break from the game for about 5 months, I was 5 cards off collection complete, and I quite literally just got back to that state like a week ago. And this is after spending a decent amount of money after I came back. So I definitely think that the biggest problem with Snap's like acquisition in a sense as well is that there is a rotation. Instead of I can go to my collection, I can look for unowned cards and I can buy it instantly. I think that would help so much. And I get that it is sort of retention based and they want you to keep coming back and checking the shop. I understand that. But sometimes you're just waiting for a card and it's just so painful and it makes you want to play the game less when you have the card because you're just so frustrated. It might be different for me. That is just my personal experience. I would rather be able to go in and pick the specific one I wanted.
No, when I came back to the game, I did not play the game on a daily basis. They got me with the method, but I was just waiting until I could get the one deck I could play. And then once I got like Starbrand and a few of the cards that enable the deck that I could play, I was like, all right, like this works for me. But like I feel like the player experience is so bad in terms of that. But I do like the new systems of like ever since Spotlight and we could just wait for the cards we want and buy them the week we do. I think that system is actually fairly sustainable because like you can get 6K tokens in 2 weeks, right? Or is that just whale
Yeah.
speaking?
Nope. You can absolutely get 6K tokens in 2 weeks. Free to play.
Right. And I think that's pretty good because you can just buy the new card at how much is it valued at? Is that at 6K?
The new card is valued at 6K. For us, significant spenders,
It's
it's
5K as a
5K.
package, right?
And I will say that is a extremely nice thing that I know that at least with my token economy as it currently stands, I am able to get every single new card by only purchasing the two passes.
Yeah, but
So
in terms of like how does it feel? Doesn't it feel bad for the average player? Like I don't know if the free to play
that's
players
the
will
thing.
like comment on it because like all the collection complete people are buying the card for 5K and getting bonus rewards, right? And
Correct.
to make their sacrifice to buy their card, they cannot buy it for 5K. They have to buy it for 6K, and they get none of the little goodies that come with it.
Correct. But here's the other like flip back where it goes against the collected complete players. There are some cards that I did not want. I wanted no piece of Zombie Mr. Fantastic, for example. I don't even think I've played the card outside of booster farming it to get it out of my booster shop. I don't want that card. It doesn't interest me, it doesn't appeal to me. I don't want to make any new decks with the card, but I still have to get it.
Yeah, but like that's like a like we get it because we have to. But for me, those cards just sit there until I randomly get it. So like an example is Mad Thinker. He was released into the S4 pool. I had like three other S4s come out while he was sitting in there. I just bought the pass like until I got him, or I didn't get him. I was just getting the other cards. And it's just like, yeah, Mad Stinker. If someone asked me on stream, I'm gonna say I don't own that card, even though I could have made the decision to buy him whenever I wanted. And it like the system feels good for us, but like, how does it feel to like the general player? Because like being forced to buy bad cards and still having tokens is not necessarily a downside for us to complain about, right? I feel like there should be something in it for the players that are like saving up week to week. Because if you're just thinking from a player experience standpoint, like imagine you couldn't buy the S5 packs, right? You don't have a
Hmm.
choice necessarily on how to spend your tokens as a kind of getting there player.
Yeah. So here's my take on it. And this is sort of my take on snap packs in general because of how the Series 5s work. Let's say you want to create content on this game, you want to be a top player for this game. you're going to need the new cards. Just straight up, there's always at least one card every month that releases that's like, okay, this card is something you want to have. I mean, last season, probably a card like Bastion, Omega Sentinel, even Omega Sentinel Series 4, Jocasta. Jocasta is probably the main one that I'd refer to as like, okay, you definitely want this card in your collection. And the other cards, like, they can be good as well. Like, Bastion's a very good card, stuff like that. But the only, like, really bad one I thought was Warlock. But in general, I think that if you find a season that you like at least all but one of the cards or all of the cards, I think you should buy that. I think that is a good time to either, if you want to be like super disciplined about your token economy, I know it's hard to do, but you could wait a season, and then as soon as the season rotates over, when there's only like the one new card in series 5 packs, you just buy out the packs you saved up all season, and now you can get the new card consistently for 5k that you want, and then through that you're able to hopefully build up enough economy that you're able to go back from time to time and purchase the older cards because it's no longer costing you as much for each new card. But though maybe that is the economy stuff. I haven't done the exact math on it per se. Maybe that's just because I spend on the game and I can afford to go back and buy some older cards. I don't know, but that's kind of my take on it as it stands right
Yeah,
now.
I'm just like looking at the shop right now, and I'm just like, what are some options for like lower series players to feel good about their purchases? Because I'm gonna just be so honest. When I click on a 6,000 token purchase, I feel really bad.
Yeah, it's like I have right now Bullseye sitting in my shop for 6,000 tokens. Like Bullseye's a good card. I
But if
don't
you
want it.
had to
That's why
click
the
on
reason I
that to
haven't
play the
had it.
bullseye deck, you would feel some kind of way.
I would feel bad. I would feel like, why can't I get this guy for 4K?
Yeah,
Like this
and I
guy's in
think
the
like
4K pack.
there should be some. I think it would go a long way if Second Dinner made a 5K pack that like felt more targeted. But like, I think there should be some evergreen ones. And here's
Yeah.
a suggestion I
Could
just
there
thought of
be
on the
like,
spot. Like, there's some evergreen archetypes that Second Dinner acknowledges, right? Let's just think
yeah,
discard. Let's just think destroy. What else is there? Like evergreen, ongoing.
well, evergreen ongoing, um, stuff like combo, stuff like
No, but
Nimrod
like
negative.
combo isn't like truly like it would have to be general enough that there's no overlap with the other ones.
So just like keyword stuff. So like move,
Move, discard and move, or move, discard,
destroy, and
destroy,
destroy.
and ongoing.
Ongoing.
And I think no ability can be one as well, just for the like
With
memes.
Sauron.
There would be like
Yeah, you
Sauron
gotta
and
get.
Patriot cards.
Could you argue like end of turn, activate,
Oh
or
yeah, so
is
let's add a return to
hybridized?
that. I think it would go a long way for Second Dinner to offer like 5,000 token packs that have less goodies in them, but the goodies are targeted.
Yeah, I
So
think that'd be perfect. I think you could get. Could you even release like an archetype pack
no,
where
I
you
think
have
those should
cards?
be evergreen. So like they can always buy from the discard packs until it's complete. And instead of getting, you know how we get two goodies for the
Hmm.
season 5 pack? Instead of getting two goodies, they get one goodie, but the one goodie could be like an S3 destroy card. The one goodie
See,
could be an
I
S4 destroy card at super low rates.
yeah.
And it's like,
So my idea is slightly different to yours. Here's my idea. You also release a 5,000 token pack, but it has all of like the essential cards to like the archetypes and stuff like that.
but
Like
who's
it's got a
defining what's
Jacat.
essential?
I think that there are some cards that are very evidently like Jocasta, Invisible Woman First Steps,
I
cards like Madam Web,
I
cards like that are very integral to the archetype. Or maybe you could do like a
so
combination of sorts where you can buy or maybe just offer these archetype defining cards at like a discount and have like a
But
discount section in the
see,
store.
what I think they're never gonna do is I think they're never gonna release the new cards into those packs because the new cards are going to the seasonal packs, so they want people to have a reason to buy that, right? But
Mm,
I think a good solution would be then, let's say you can't get Jocasta in the end of turn pack or the activate pack, right?
hmm.
After a certain time period, Jocasta will go into the end of turn pack, and it'll be like a prize. So like, same thing for like zombie Captain America, right?
Colonel America for
Zombie, yeah,
discard.
Colonel America. That guy, he wouldn't go automatically into a discard pack, but like after 2 months, like you know how they would do series drops, then he
Yeah.
would series drop into the discard pack rather than series drop into the general pack. And I think the general pack should only be the home for like cards that don't have a general archetype. So like those are more like for fun packs because I think the current like collectors packs, season 5, series 4, season 3s, they aren't
Hmm.
doing their jobs well enough because no one should be buying them if they're going for specific cards.
Correct. I think the general packs are probably the. I hang out in the main Discord a bit, and seeing people buy those packs, it's just like I would so much rather buy the new packs on season launch because you're getting a concentrated group of cards that you
Yeah,
know you're getting instead of a wide pool, and also you're setting yourself up better to get the new cards, which are generally the better
I wonder
cards.
if Second Dinner has the data for how many people are actually gambling on collector's pack, and if the numbers aren't good enough, I wonder what would happen if they split them into like those 5 packs we talked about. You know, like having evergreen move packs, having evergreen destroy packs, having evergreen discard packs, and
So here's the problem with that because they already do this and they already have like discard and then
but those
destroy,
are only like for a
and
time period, right?
those are only for a time period. And here's the bigger problem with them: they are not specified to decks. Like in the Move Series 5 pack, I believe they have cards like Rocket and Groot in there. And that's not a move
No,
card,
but
but it is a move card. It's a
yeah.
card that moves,
So
but it's not a move card. I think the actual best answer is pre-built,
no,
is precons.
but I
But
think that's also incorrect. Like if they're trying to have the pack spirit built in, I think the problem with Rocket and Groot being in the move pack is because they only leave it open for a limited amount of time. So if you're wasting one of your precious pulls in the move pack and getting Rocket and Groot, you're gonna be upset because that move pack is gonna be gone. Does that make sense?
yeah.
But if the move
All right.
pack is never going to be gone, then even if they get the Rocket and Groot card and it's still a move card, they can play with them in move decks, and they know they have a guarantee that they will be able to continually build towards that move archetype that they enjoy. Because Rocket and Groot isn't a move card, but it can be played in move decks. It procs your Miles Morales. It has inherent synergy. Like
It does have some
like
synergy,
if you
yeah.
type in the word destroy, right?
Yeah, we can look at this right now. If you type in the word destroy, there's a lot of cards that don't typically go in the
Yeah, like which
destroy deck.
cards like don't necessarily fit. Like Cobra doesn't fit.
Like Uncle Ben doesn't
This
really fit that
the
well.
thing for steps doesn't fit, right?
Fire hair doesn't fit.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, if that pack was evergreen and they could always buy it, you don't feel that bad about getting fire hair. You get fire hair, you play or you try a deck to destroy some cards, and then like it's like whatever, you can still build towards it, right? But I think the problem with the those kinds of packs rotating and not being left is that they don't get that continual feeling of progress. You know what I mean? Because like
Yeah.
because once you waste the fire hair pull, it's not being pulled out of a pool because that pool will soon disappear. I think it's beneficial for second dinner to leave pools for players to consistently growth towards. And like maybe once you own 2 or 3 of the pools completely and they want the feeling of randomness, they just remove the pools altogether. But I think you need to give players something to work towards as they're building their packs. Because like even like games like Hearthstone, right? Like there are specific sets you're buying packs for. Does that make sense? So when new
Yeah, that
cards
makes
get
sense.
released, they get released into those sets. So you can focus on buying cards from a specific set. Whereas in Marvel Snap, everything goes into this general pool that like you never feel like you're making progress because the pool is so big.
I think the economy has some pain points. I think your solution is good because it lets people like progress to a goal of completing like a set or whatever, like you said in Magic. But I also think the economy is kind of skewed a bit in terms of these new variant bundles, where they're releasing this new variant for no currency and between $10 and $20. I don't like this. I would drastically prefer if they said, okay, there's no other boosters, goodies, whatever. Here's a new variant. Here's 500 credits. It's $10. That's it.
Yeah. Or I was thinking about it today, but if they made something called targeted boosters, like you know how when you buy cards it subtracts from your boosters, right? Or when you split a card, it subtracts from your boosters.
Yeah.
And when you don't
Yes.
have enough boosters, it prompts you to buy with gold.
Correct.
It would be cool if they released a currency like called alternate boosters that they sold with the bundles. And then basically, when you're out of boosters for a card, rather than prompting you to buy gold, it prompts you to use from this pool of boosters. So it'd be like universal. Because every time there's a bundle with like boosters in it, for example, right? I never consider it. But if the boosters were to go towards like universal boosters, I would much more heavily consider.
Yeah, especially for those of us that like go for mastery on cards and whatnot. There, I also want to touch a little bit on mastery. They made some improvements to the system, and I've always been a mastery liker. I like the system. I thought there was significant flaws, but in general, I preferred it to the old split system. This new mastery update makes me happier, but I wish I could see a little bit more.
Yeah, I think they stopped with like roadmaps and such too, right? I think Marvel
They
stuff is like
did.
heavily carried by its gameplay. Its gameplay loop is so rewarding. But I think
So the other thing with the roadmaps, just quickly to touch on that, because that is something I believe they did one and it had character, and one of them had character mastery on it, the other one didn't, and then everybody got really mad, and so they just decided to scrap it all together, that it wasn't doing their like public image much well
yeah, I mean,
because of the community.
community
And I
remembers stuff.
kind of agree, to be honest.
If I remember stuff. So for example, they release cards at series, different series, right? And
Hmm.
this is before your time, but they promised that if your card was dropped, you would get a first edition badge.
Yes, no, I was there for that. I was absolutely. I've been playing this game since Black Panther season.
And by God, I am so upset I still don't have a Sauron badge. Like,
Oh, I'm upset I don't have my Dazzler first edition
yeah, it's just
badge.
like
I
we
got
made these
and my
cards
Kang
when they
one
were
too.
shit. Where's our recognition?
I got Dazzler and Kang from collector's reserves
Yeah,
on the
but
track,
it's funny.
both at Series 5.
It's funny because there's so much like stupid shit that the community cares about that I think is free for Marvel Snap to give us in terms of like if they did that stuff, it would improve community sentiment because there's like all these side quests you can do, right?
Or even not even a first edition badge. Just give us like a first edition split with like the Grand Arena scheme where it's like this like royal like red and gold background split. Just give us first edition
Or a
background and we can
border.
match
Like
it
they have
with
so many
whatever flair we
options,
like.
right? Like a first
Something
edition
like that.
border.
I know we're talking to like literally like the 1% of people who were one playing in 2023 and two bought their terrible card back then, that or got it from a
Yeah,
collector's
yeah.
reserve. But no, I think it would. I mean, look, I'd rock my Kang with first edition stuff. I think that's pretty
But like
cool.
even with the new card releases, like for example, when Fing Fang Foom comes out, like
Yeah,
it would incentivize people to just buy Fing Fang Foom, and like if they buy the Spotlight bundle instead of just a variant, like you get this cool first edition thing, being like, I valued this card before he was cool.
exactly. It's stuff like that's like the old spotlight avatars are the best example I have of this. So like something like I have the Maria Wolf Echo Spotlight avatar, which means you had to buy it at the time, and this was at the time before spotlights were more generous, and the fourth world didn't always give tokens if it was a duplicate. So it was like not that great economy wise. But in general, like I have that avatar that shows like I spent an extra 12,000 tokens pretty much to get this card. I deserve this like first edition thing, and I rock that Echo avatar more than any other one in the game. It's also similar to stuff like the current. It we have nothing like it currently though, because it's like I don't know. I feel like you should definitely get something for getting the card earlier, and
Yeah,
with these release spotlight variants, I don't know if cash
I
only is
think
the
the
way I want to
product
do
team
it.
can do a better job at catering to both new players and catering to whales. I think
Yes.
I think as a whale, like I'm happier to be a whale in the game of Riot games, where literally nothing you play Like nothing you buy affects gameplay at all, but they make the whales
Mm.
feel good. Minus like when you have like $200 gotcha variants, for example. But
I mean, yeah, the Snap also has its fair share of $100 variant
I
bundles.
mean, they also have like the web shop, right? Which is actually just a $200 variant.
Correct. Did you get any of those, by the way?
I
The
own a lot
200?
of those. So when it appears
I own.
on my collection,
I only have one of them.
when it appears on my
So
collection, I'm just like, you guys didn't see it. That does not
yeah,
exist.
it's on a card I never play,
I
but
mean, like, because
like
I have like the Kitty one and the Athena one, and like people like show up in my stream and they're like, "Hey, that's a cool variant," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't own this one. Let's not talk about it." But yes, I
yeah, I own the cable one. It's like it's whatever.
but like I said, I'm a
It's not.
self-admitted whale, so
It's like yeah, I wailed for a few months, but like for the most part, I spend less than $40 on this game a month, and this is like my hobby in terms of like collecting stuff.
yeah, like if
And
you're collecting just like cards and
like
stuff.
this game is pretty much my hobby. I do other stuff in my free time, obviously, but it's like if I had to say I have one hobby, it's definitely this game.
Yeah, like you're a big sports guy, I know.
I am a very big sports guy, big poker guy as well. Just I have other stuff that I like doing. It's just Snap is kind of the one that's stuck around the longest at this
Yeah, the
point. I
online one
haven't
that's
played
super
any
around.
other game for 3 years straight.
Mhm.
It's kind of crazy, but I definitely think that I think my biggest problem with right now with it is there is with the variant specifically is if I'm spending $10 or even $20 to get a variant specifically, it better be one of my like favorite 20 in the entire game if I'm getting like no currency at all out of it.
Which
And I
wait,
feel like
which
that's
bundle are
kind
you
of
talking
feels
about?
bad. The new card releases you can buy a variant and a
The
border
spotlight
for
one, right?
$20. Yeah, the spotlight one.
I mean, I'm buying those because I like the card and the thing. Like, but the problem is, like, I
Yeah,
hate the variants. I think they should flatline it at $10. I know it's like testing,
I
but
agree.
it should be just $10. But
It the 20 is just it's so bad because there was actually one that I was thinking about. It was the Cosmic Ghost Rider one, and I got the $15 one in my shop, and I was like, I just can't spend $15 on this.
yeah,
10, maybe I can talk myself into it because I think it's a really good card, and I think it's a evergreen tech card, but not not 15, not 20. That's just way too expensive for just a variant considering you're getting no significant difference between all three bundles.
yeah,
I know someone else that has the I won't name by name, but I know someone else who has the same complaints as me where it's like, okay, if it's $10, then maybe if I really like the variant I'll get it, but at this point if I'm getting it for $20, there's no variant. There's one variant in the game that I already own it that I would spend $20 on
yeah.
and
I
get
would
nothing
rather wait
else
for
from
it
it.
to rotate in the spotlight shop.
Exactly. Because then
Yeah,
3,500 token, that's like
which is like the
nowhere near
funny
as
thing that
much.
Snap does because it like tries to use FOMO to get you to buy things, right? But then it doesn't
Hmm.
show you the things you want, and it doesn't price it at like the prices you want to buy it at.
Yeah, so one thing that I thought was really just like an odd move is they released a Viper Gold bundle, but they released it the day after a new album came out. And all I'm going to say is that I would have been a lot more tempted to buy that gold bundle had the album come out the day after, or if it was the day of the album instead of the day after. Because by the time that's over, there was like three variants I wanted. I ended up only getting Andy because there was like no other gold bundles, and even then I was on the fence. Might have pushed me over the fence to get that extra to get those extra variants if they released a gold bundle on the same day. That's just like little stuff like that. It's like
Yeah, I know.
the spending isn't as rewarding as I'd like it to be, especially for cosmetics.
Yeah,
And I think the future of this game's monetization really needs to be on cosmetics. And I think they're seeing some success with it
yeah.
because we're
The
starting to see less
tokens,
card monetization and more cosmetic monetization.
yeah.
But yeah.
Like I'm spending a lot of tokens on spotlight variants, low key.
Oh, I bought the super giant,
Oh, I'm
the
buying like
good
all
one.
of them that I think are cool because like for me it's just another like gold currency.
Yeah. I just heard the mastery in the
Yeah, you hear
background.
the
I think you
mastery.
just, yeah,
Like they're
who
pretty
did you
expensive
split?
variants, but like honestly, when they're sold in tokens, I kind of lose track of like how much they cost.
Definitely. I mean, you see some people like I've seen someone with almost a million tokens. It's like, okay, what are you going to spend them on now? It's like I also think Snap's done a better job of giving people options to buy stuff with tokens. I know I'm very good friends with Roran Plays, and his biggest like critique for a while was there was nothing he could spend his tokens on. He was collection complete, he was ultimate variant complete, and he's like, I cannot wait to get another way to spend the 200,000 tokens I have in
Yeah,
my
you might
account.
make some people mad with these comments because there's a lot of people who aren't. Yeah,
Who don't have that?
but a
Well,
lot of people who
just
are like
know
listening
I'm
to the
in.
podcast and
I
stuff are invested in the game. Some terms of
Yeah,
spenders.
yeah. I mean, I am not collection complete. I will say that I am missing 4 Series 5 cards right now, and I have 14,475 tokens, and I have bought quite a few spotlight variants.
Oh,
I bought the Hellfire Gala Havoc. I bought a Super Giant, and I bought one other one that I
yeah.
forgot. I really shouldn't forget because I spent a lot on it, but
So, bit of a funny story on my end. I finished season pass today.
oh, nice.
Yeah, and then I was so insulted because the offer that came up was like $10 for 1,000 gold and a regular mystery variant. I'm like, what the fuck is this offer? Like, it was so insulting. Like, cause I finished early too. Like,
Yeah, I've played a decent amount this season. I mean, this week in terms of cubes in my alliance, I am over 1,000, and I'm only season past 45 right now.
45.
Yeah, I'm 45 right
Wait, but
now.
did you buy premium?
Yes.
Oh yeah, so I'm the same thing, but also I took a week off of playing Snap this month because I had homecoming for my high school. So like I was at work for 72 hours and I didn't play Snap that much at all. So like I don't know, but
I'm
like
playing.
I feel like grinding like for the Snap, like especially if I had 100, like I should at least get some kind of discount, not like getting.
I don't even feel it should be a discount. I feel like you should get like I don't know, just give us like mastery up to level 20 on the season pass card. Something even less like short like that, where it's like, okay, this is a significant token. Like, what is, let me check what mastery 20 is on a card. Mastery 20 is 650 mastery XP. Would it really hurt if you got season pass level 100 instead of one of these useless season caches to get 650 mastery XP on the season pass card? I don't think it would
I
hurt
don't
at
think it would
all.
hurt them
You've
at all.
mastered the season.
Yeah,
I think that's a fair way to give out mastery based on the way they're doing it.
yeah,
If you mastered a season, you get it. And I think that's pretty cool, at least. Maybe you get season pass and then for paid as well, you get this extra thing because obviously if you don't pay for the card, you can't get mastery on it. But
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It just feels a little weird.
I think the thing I've really enjoyed though is these season passes with the event pass. This is something
Hmm.
I very much enjoyed because I hate interacting with any like non-ladder game mode. Like I just don't find it like very rewarding. Like I don't like Sanctum. I did enjoy Grand Arena. Grand Arena was pretty fun.
Yeah,
I hate
Grand Arena was fun.
high voltage. I hate what's the other
Yeah,
one?
Sanctum. I
No,
think you
I
said
love
Sanctum.
Deadpool's Diner. Okay, Deadpool's
I,
Diner. I love.
mm, Yeah, for me, the LTM that I like actually engaged with, funnily enough, despite all the terrible stuff, was High Voltage Overdrive.
Was that the
I
Kiddo one?
yeah,
Shalamac.
I thought the actual gameplay for High Voltage Overdrive was my favorite that I've seen in a Snap LTM like ever. I really enjoyed that game mode.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the problem is that the whoever was on the monetization team just absolutely like the shitting bricks there, and made the card unobtainable to get free to play reasonably.
Yeah,
It's
but I
like,
mean, like, oh well, like
I mean, like
big
the gameplay was really
oops.
good. Like, I would personally love it if that came back and they just made Kiddo instead of 50,000, they made him 30,000, and they made the portal pulls 10,000 each. It's still not a generous game mode like Deadpool's Diner was, but it's sort of similar to this Sanctum where, like, yeah, you can get a new card. It's fine. It's cool. It's good. All that stuff. But yeah, in general, I think this game could definitely be doing a lot better economy wise. But I will say the event passes are also very nice because Grand Arena, after everyone started playing Herbie Clog, I got a bit annoyed of it.
Oh, I loved Gran Arena. I think it was the cringest game mode to do. It was so cringe, but I love the cringe. I live for the cringe.
No, that, we're gonna clip that, so you can't call me cringe
Okay,
anymore.
I mean you are also you are cringe. Let's just be so.
What, like my deck choices? I will admit they are pretty cringe. I think it's like a most like pixel thing for the most part
It's a
because
you're
I have
blaming
similar
your
deck
whole
state.
alliance for playing cringe decks.
No, I'm not blaming my whole alliance for playing cringe decks. I'm saying a lot of players in my alliance tend to like more combo
So
decks
you're calling
as
your
opposed to
alliance
the.
cringe. Got it.
I mean, if combo decks make us cringe, then I guess so.
I'll let
You're in my
Rora
alliance
know.
too now, so you're going down with this ship. Uh,
Well, yeah,
but
but like Dennis and I don't claim the cringe.
you guys literally. Well, Dennis plays combo as well, so I don't
Yeah,
know if
and
he can
he
really
plays the
escape
least
that.
cringe deck of all time.
He's making you seem like it's a little less cringe, but in
Dennis's deck
general,
is the most base deck of all time.
yeah, okay.
Let's just
Uh,
be honest here. From a totally
it's
unbiased deck
cool.
perspective,
It's cool. It's a very
he
cool
plays
deck.
a very cool deck. Yeah.
It is a cool deck, and the way it works is very interesting. I also think getting my Herbie to 100 to what is it now? 98 power to 96 power while afflicting my entire enemy board with negative 35. I also think that's really cool.
Yeah, yeah, your Jocasta deck is pretty cool. But when you switch to Stardust cringe,
So just like Stardust makes me cringe.
when the reason for you playing Stardust is that Danish is streaming, yes, that makes you cringe. Oh my
was,
god.
that was fun. That was
No,
one of my
and then
favorite
when
bits that
I
I
beat
did.
you for 8 on Hella and your response was,
I'm
I'm
switching
gonna
to Nimrod.
switch, and then you switch, I beat you for 8 again? What's that?
No, you didn't.
No, no.
No, you didn't beat me for it again. You beat me for
No, I beat you for 4
4?
first on Hella. Then I
Yeah.
beat you for
And then you beat
8
me for.
on Nimrod.
And then I went to go play
And
the
then you went to
caster.
go play negative.
No, I didn't play negative at
But
all.
you said you were.
Yeah, I said I was. Then I kept playing Nimrod.
So you're
And then
just
I won a
cringe.
bunch of AQvers. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like Nimrod. I like Nimrod Phoenix Force. Sue me. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, but I think I think the meta's in a great place. I think Second Dinner can do a lot better with monetization. I think we're about to wrap up our episode. We're gonna keep it pretty
Yes.
short.
It's not a long episode. This is kind of
This
like
is
a
basically what you
last
hear on
minute
our
thing.
Discord calls, by the way.
This is basically a Discord call where he talks about some topics that we don't normally get
Yeah,
into on
but
the
low
AQ
key, if you guys
Circus.
have suggestions, we can use the creator channels. We'll bring feedback. I know a lot of
We
people are
can
invested in making the game better.
a better place. Yeah, I definitely think there's some ideas that I have personally that I might start introducing to like start bringing up in talking points. But yeah, if let us know by the way if you like these kinds of more chill episodes with less slides, where it's kind of like just some audio and just chill talking about a lot of different topics as opposed to like an organized thing where it's more of a free flowing conversation. Make sure to like and subscribe this like sure to like this video and subscribe to Snap Academy YT on YouTube. Make sure to go follow Xenaid on Twitch at twitch.tv/XenaidTFT. Xenaid, any last remarks?
Nah, I think this was a pretty fun episode. We missed Dennis. We'll see him back next time.
Yep. We will
Or
see
he'll get
Dennis back
fired,
next
you
time.
know?
Yeah. We will see Dennis back next time later this week because this episode is going up late. And yeah, next episode, I will say we've got some interesting deck building questions that we might answer. So have a good one, everybody. That's it for us. Peace out.
All right.